guided, Ms. Chairman, but I hope, Ms. Chairman, the committee will understand the small emotion with I speak, because there have been references to my staff, but I will stick to the guidance and answer. No, not at all, Mr. Chairman.
You are an institution.
I understand.
And two, these are public funds. So people will say whatever they want, but that's what we do. People will say whatever they want.
That's what you hear.
So here we are now making that inquiry. Because you have gotten money, it's a lot of money. You understand? So this is your opportunity now to say, no. Takachena. You can not tell it was we don't know. It's supposed to start with
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sometime in 2016, Mr. Chairman, the then Deputy President of the Nation, the now President of the Nation, convened a meeting of about 40 businesses and invited them to finance the revamping of the production of maize for import substitution in this country. The program was subsequently extended to soybeans. Sakunda was one of those companies that was in that meeting and subsequently submitted a proposal as to how this could be financed. We were told that 400,000 hectares of land were going to be put under maize and about 50,000 hectares of land were going to be put under wheat. We were then asked to work with the Minister of Finance to agree terms under which our proposal could be operationalized. We were told that we were going to be advised by the Ministry of Agriculture how much of seed, fuel, chemicals, basal fertilizer, top fertilizer would be required to run a cropping season. A cropping season being either a summer cropping season, roughly October to April, or a winter wheat program, May to October. We agreed with the Minister of Finance what our money would cost to the Minister of Finance, which was about 4%, 4.5%. We are told that other persons made proposals which would cost the government 12% of money, but that's not what we are here to discuss. We would then be also advised by the Minister of Agriculture as to what farmers would be working in the program. The selection, identification, verification of farmers would be done by the Agri-Tax unit of the Ministry of Agriculture. We would then be asked to buy the inputs from suppliers agreed with the Ministry of Agriculture. A list of possible suppliers will be given for these things I have mentioned and other inputs. Other inputs will be ancillary equipment. In the very first season, Mr. Chairman, we went down to being asked to buy protective workwear, gumboots, masks, because we understand there was a need to spray. We were also asked to buy motor cars, Mr. Chairman, and we, in working with the Ministry of Agriculture like that, we would say to them, from the approved list of service providers, we would apply our normal in-company selection criteria to suss out who can supply in time, efficiently, and price efficiently. Mr. Chairman, we also made clear to government, especially the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Finance, that in providing inputs in any season, government would have to help the program by providing foreign currency. Each week we would provide a list of what the foreign currency requirement would be. It would be reviewed weekly and agreed weekly. In practice, that foreign currency was supposed to come from the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. Sakunda then financed the purchase of these inputs. Some of these inputs, if I may quickly say, Mr. Chairman, as I said, they were vehicles. We bought 8 Land Cruisers in the first season, 10 double cabs in the first season, 50 single cabs in the first season, 200 motorcycles in the first season. For the smooth administration of that program, we also supplied 10 vehicles for a monitoring and implementation team, which would have 1 of our own staff in it and 3 government staff, which means there were 40 people on the program. The Ministry of Agriculture would then register and find the farmers. Our purpose, our duty was to finance the purchase of these things so that the program would run. Some payments were in Zimbabwe dollars, some payments were in US dollars. We would carry these inputs to designated delivery points, which typically were GMB depots. And we would carry these typically in trucks of 30 tons each. And we will be told where in the country to deposit these inputs. Mr. Chairman, it would take a... Essentially the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Chairman. They would tell us this. There are 3 main cropping provinces, much central, much east and much west, which is called the Grain Belt, but there are other activities which grow maize around the country. There are irrigation schemes elsewhere, but they would tell us which GMB. There are 60 GMBs, but not all GMB depots would receive. They would tell us which GMB to drop what quantity of what input. Say, take 10 million liters of chemicals to these provinces, and this is going here. Take 80,000 tons of basal fertilizer around the country, and this is where you put it in each of these GMBs. Mr. Chairman, if we delivered to a GMB, we would expect our truck, and we did get our truck back with a goods received voucher, or for us, a proof of delivery. So a truck went to Magunje, carrying 30 tons of fertilizer. It came back from Magunje, and there's a signature there by GMB Magunje to say we have received this. So we put that in a room, and we have roomfuls of these goods received vouchers, Mr. Chairman. Essentially, Mr. Chairman, what you might want to know is that between us and the Minister of Finance, we were a lender and they were a borrower. There was a structure, therefore, a loan where it's a facility. I'm going to tell them the interest rate and the amount, having been told by them and the Minister of Agriculture how much you need in this season. I'll say to them, for doing this work, you are going to pay me a facility fee. This is my facility fee, and you must pay it within 7 days, or I'm not moving. I'm going to do the rest of what you've asked me to do if you abide by these terms. And essentially, they did abide by those, and we did work. And we did say to them, at the center of what you asked us to structure is a farmer who is on land, but he doesn't have security. Indeed, the banking sector has found itself not in a position to lend to this farmer because this farmer has got no security. So you must understand that if we give you the money and the farmer doesn't pay, you must stand security for this. And they did offer us security. They offered us various kinds of security. The very beginning conversations, they offered us, as part of the security, a ring-fenced account which would collect money and would be paid from it if the farmers didn't pay. And I think the very first one was the NOIC Debt Redemption Fund, which we were going to use. And when we say to them it's not enough to cover the size of the facility, and in a minute I'll describe to Chairman what the size of the facility was in the first term. They then offered us treasury bills. We did say to them it were better in our books to receive a government guarantee, but effectively they said a government guarantee is not normally issued to private sector people, or in this case to a company inside the country. So they offered us the ring fence account, the treasury bills, and they were not able to give us the government guarantee. Mr. Chairman, you are right that these are sizable amounts of funds, and I'd like to describe briefly what happened in the first season, and if necessary discuss the other ones, we will. We are here. In the first season, Mr. Chairman, summer of 2016-2017, there were 3 programs. There was a program for irrigated maize and soybean, and the financing required for that was estimated at $85 million. There was a program for rain-fed or dryland maize and soybean, and the estimated amount for that was $75 million. There was a presidential program, a program for vulnerable households, which we also asked to work with only in that season, and the amount which was supposed to go to that program was $13 million. We ran also with 2017 and so, but I'm just describing what the system is. So, Mr. Chairman, I answered the point that you asked me. And we know, Mr. Chairman, that in that season, just under 1 million vulnerable households were helped, but we decided to stop. Not that we are bad-minded, but it was easier to deal with the commercial side and not the presidential side. So, Mr. Chairman, you asked what our role was, what government departments we dealt with, and I think I have answered the question. We dealt with the Minister of Finance, we dealt with the Minister of Agriculture, who were the primary advisors to the Minister of Finance as to what was required. We dealt with the Reserve Bank insofar as they were supposed to provide foreign currency. I must say that the Ministry of Agriculture had a unit called the Command Center, which we worked with every week so that they were able to monitor what we were doing. And if I required assistance with getting the inputs moving, whether they were moving from out of country or from somewhere in the country to where they needed to go, the Minister of Agriculture lent me people from that command center to assist. I hope I have made a start to answering your question, Mr. Chairman.